skyline in this part of the Lancashire coast, and its colourful Blackpool and its unique atmosphere that plays host to the 87th Greenall's Waterloo Handicap. Yes, welcome to the Waterloo, the most prestigious event in the Crown Green Bowls calendar, and of course also the Blue Ribbon event. Total prize money around £25,000, with £3,000 to the eventual winner. But you know, really, it's not just the money, it's the prestige of winning this particular event. Now, 64 players started off on Monday. We're now down to the last 8, and by the end of the day, we'll know who our new champion is to be. We're talking of champions. With me is John Bancroft, who won this particular event back in 1990. John, you're part of our team here today. What does it take to win this particular prestigious event?
Well, the winner today is going to have to perform to the highest level, and he's going to have to hold his nerve. That's the main thing. I mean, the Waterloo is the competition that all the bowlers want to win. They'll all be down there now, ready to start, and they'll all be really nervous. So it's getting off to a good start and keeping control of your nerves, really.
For anyone at home who hasn't seen this type of bowling before, they're in for a real treat, aren't they? Because the atmosphere is something very special. Oh,
yeah, it's electric. There's almost 3,000 people here today, and if you play a few bad bowls, they really let you know, and it does put the pressure on you a little bit, yeah.
You're looking forward to it?
Oh, yeah, tremendously. It's a class field today. It's nicely balanced. There's 5 people who've been in the final day before. There's a couple of newcomers, so it's all set up for a nice day's bowl, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all looking forward to it. Well, Roy Armstrong is part of our team. He'll be greenside all day, steering us through what's going on down there. And right now, he has a very simple explanation of the sports rules.
The game of crown bowls is played with 2 bowls which are biased by shape, not weighted, and the jack is biased in exactly the same way. An indentation on the biased side of the bowl signifies the bias, and therefore when you have your thumb on the biased side, that is thumb peg or backhand to the right-hander. Conversely, when you have your finger on the biased side, that is finger peg or forehand to the right-hander. The winner of the previous end has the privilege of sending the jack, and they can send it anywhere on the green, subject to a minimum length of 19 metres. Whichever bowl is nearest the jack counts 1 point and wins the end. And with 2 bowls being played, it's possible for a maximum count of 2 points, or chalks as we call it in the Crown Green game, to be scored. First to 21 is the winner, but of course, as well as playing your opponent, you have to play the green. And the crown of this green is 11 inches, and it's very large. It's 67 yards in the corners, and also it's full of undulations and imperfections which you have to combat.
Thank you, Roy. Those then the rules. Let's now meet our 8 quarter-finalists, and Jim Howarth is the man on the PA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final day of the 87th Waterloo Handicap. It gives me great pleasure to introduce today's competitors. From Leeds, representing Yorkshire, will you please welcome Derek Ripley. From Sale and representing Cheshire, will you please welcome Robert Crawshaw. From Diggle, representing Greater Manchester, would you please represent Ken Strutt. From Bamber Bridge, and representing the North Langston Files, Brian Duncan. From Sale, representing Greater Manchester, Jeff Telford. From Chadderton, representing Greater Manchester, David Thornley. From Romley, representing Cheshire and Greater Manchester, Joe Bradbury. From Murfield, representing Yorkshire, Alan Thompson.
So there we are. We've now met our 8 quarter-finalists. John Bancroft, looking at the 8 men there, the sun is shining, conditions are just about perfect. What are your thoughts now looking at that final field?
Well, if you were a gambling man, you couldn't look any further than Brian Duncan, really. He's the class act in the field. He's 5 times champion. He's playing his favourite green. This is his favourite venue, without a shadow of a doubt. The green's in perfect condition. If I was picking an outsider in the bottom half, I'd stick my neck out and say David Thornley. I think he's, from my part of the world, a great Manchester County player. And he's an up-and-coming young player, and he's played really well so far this week, Excellent.
Well, the first quarter-final, Derek Ripley and Robert Crawshaw, that's coming our way very soon. We're going to take a short break now. But look at the fans here. They can't wait. Neither can we. The sun is shining, and Blackpool looks its best in the September sunshine. See you in a couple of minutes. Crowds of June, July and August may have gone, but Blackpool is still pretty busy, and it still claims, of course, to be the entertainment capital of Great Britain, and it's playing host this week to the Greenall's Waterloo 1995 finals. Our first quarter-final coming up very soon. That's Derek Ripley against Robert Crawshaw. Let's first of all take a check on Derek Ripley, the 16-to-1 outsider. Here's just a brief profile of the man. He plays for the Armley Conservative Club. His best ever appearance in this competition, he made it to the 5th round, and of course, as you can see, a very experienced county player. Well, John, as I said, 16-to-1 outsider. You have to say statistically his chances aren't good. Maybe he feels he's done enough and this is his final to get this far.
I think that's the crux of this game, really, how Derek feels in his own mind. If he feels he's done enough just to get to the final day, which is an achievement in itself, then his performance might tail off from previous days. But if he feels he really wants to get stuck in, well, you never just know, because he is an experienced player with a lot of big match experience, really.
And will he be fazed by the crowd and the atmosphere?
Well, the final, we'll see in a few minutes, really. That's the million-dollar question, really, just how they will react to the crowd, because it is just a one-off. The final day of the Waterloo, you get no other feeling like it in Crown Green Bowls. It's going to be touch and go. I think Derek might just be overawed by the occasion, personally.
Well, that's Derek Ripley then. Let's look at his opponent, Robert Crawshaw. Again, we can just check briefly on his credentials. He plays for the Wilmslow and Sale Excelsior Club. His best ever here, runner-up in 1990, and of course that means he was a semi-finalist. Another experienced county player, and he is 3-to-1, so the bookie's very much going for Robert Crawshaw, and I guess you'd go along with that, John.
Yes. Robert's had a fantastic season, actually. He's probably the player of 95, and if he wins this today, it'd just cement that fact. He's won a big tournament in Yorkshire last weekend. He's won 7 tournaments so far this season. He's full of confidence. Really, in this heat, you can't look much further than Robert. And I think even whoever wins a Strutt Duncan game will have the hands full with Robert Crawshaw.
So if I was to make you put your money where your mouth is, it's Robert you'd go for?
Yes.
OK, so it's Derek Ripley against Robert Crawshaw, a quarter-final, our first quarter-final of the day, coming up in a couple of minutes. Meantime, you can see the crowd here really enjoying themselves, getting into the atmosphere. It's a packed crowd, very nearly 3,000 people here enjoying the play. They're looking at the Waterloo in Blackpool. We're just about to get underway with our first quarter-final between Derek Ripley and Robert Crawshaw. John, first of all, a word from you about the bookies, because the whole atmosphere here is very much geared to people spending money and backing their favourites.
Yeah, Crown Green Bowls is all revolves around betting, really. It's an integral part of the game, heat betting and to win the tournament. In this particular game, there's been a lot of big money for Robert Crawshaw. Not so much on the particular heat, because as you can see there, he's a very short price, 3-to-1 on. But actually to win the tournament from further back in this week, from the last 64 round onwards, there's been quite a lot of money on him.
Right, so Derek Ripley 20-to-1 for the overall tournament and Robert Crawshaw 4, but those are individual odds, 3-to-1 on Crawshaw for this heat.
Yes, as I say, at those odds there'll be not too many people backing him on the individual heat, but he probably might be part of 1 or 2 people's doubles and trebles.
Well, we're about to see whether or not those bookies are right. John, I know you've got to go off and do some commentary duties, but right now, let's go off and join Brian Brett.
Gentlemen, the first of the quarter-finals. Playing in the blue shirt with Derek Ripley, and playing in the red shirt with Robert Crawshaw. The referee, Mr. John Gertry, will now start the game.
Yes, and we start traditionally with the toss of a coin. Robert Crawshaw in red won the toss, and he elects to set the first mark, well over a minimum 19 metres distance. We're up and running for the first testing of Crown Green waters by Sky Television, the finals day of the 1995 Greenalls Waterloo Handicap. And in case you may just catch sight of a scoreboard in the background telling you it's 5-5, the explanation is that this is a handicap. The players start on 5 in games of 21. So effectively, first to 16, counting, wins it. The exception being the reigning champion, who is punished 2 points. And he can work the chalks back 1 a year, but this time 5 each on the board. As Crawshaw tries, urges the bowl forward to work with the bias, and settles beautifully. They love it. The money's on him. The bets are laid. The die is cast. We have a strike. Derek Ripley winds up, indicates he's going to fire. This, the first end of the first quarter-final. Is he on target? Ooh! Yeah. And leaves one. So that's our first firing shot. John Bancroft now with me in the commentary box. A good first end, John.
Yes, a good start for both players, really. Even though Derek's not counted the end, he'll feel quite confident. He's played a decent ball there with his first lead, and he's only just missed with his strike. So a nerve settler for both players, really.
All right. The crowd buzzing. They're loving it. 6 to Robert Crawshaw, 5 to Derek Ripley from Yorkshire. And this is a typical Crawshaw mark. John, you played pairs in the past. You know him better than most people. He works his way around a green.
Yes, he doesn't head right for the corners like most of the top players tend to. He tends to play large pegging marks, about 35, 30 yards, something like that, usually just across the crown.
Now, when you say pegging marks, for those people who are not too familiar with Crown Green, this is working the bias and working the undulations and playing the crown and that sort of thing.
Yes, obviously the bias when it's towards the crown it is negated, and the ball runs in a fairly straight line. When you play underneath the crown, that's a good ball there from Derek.
Yes,
when
you then expect the bias to do its work and hopefully follow the jack, as that ball from Ripley did. I was interested to hear you talk about Ripley. He's vastly experienced, John, but of course he's not played as regularly recently because of illness. Now then, Crawshaw, again, for a young man, he too, vastly experienced county player. He's been here before. Now Ripley, certainly counting 1, very good bowl. Now this is the work, this is what John Bancroft was talking about. This is the bias, this is off the crown, this is down towards the jack. Just have a look at the jack for 2.
Ripley, 2.
Oh, they love it. What a bowl. Look at this, John, all the way through. Can you see the working here?
Yes, it's just coming inside that ball, nicely onto the jack. Lovely ball from Derek, that.
Counts 2. And Derek Ripley in blue, retired man, he's a sales manager. He now will set the mark. I don't know where he's going to go with this. This is all the problem, not quite knowing where the crown bowlers are going to take you, but he's going towards the corner. He's not in a position to exploit full corners as yet, but he's certainly gone a fair old distance. All wrist with Derek Ripley. Now then, this up and over the crown and down. And if they were to go corner to corner, you're talking 63 yards plus one way. Look at this for a lead. Needs to pull up just through. Just a yard and a half. Now then, Robert Crawshaw. His favourite colour is blue, so he's out of luck today. He starts in red. Crawshaw just needs to take a yard out of the running of the first bowl by Ripley. And he's rather undercooked that. He just wants to know distances from the referee. Referee George Gertrude from North Lancashire and Fylde County, Fleetwood branch, all these officials. Now then, Ripley wants to work its way past. No, what he might have done now is promoted, and he has promoted the red disc bowl of Robert Crawshaw to count 1. Looking for 2. One of the great runners in the game, Robert Crawshaw, trots after the bowl. Wants it to work. He may just have missed out. He may just have to settle for 1. We're having a look for 1. The players will decide. They'll have a look. Crawshaw puts his hand up. The red disc lollipop is held up by our referee. And it's a single to Robert Crawshaw. These are the nervy, tense ends, and this looks, again, a funny little mark from Robert. John?
Yes, again, he's sticking to his game plan, playing the shorter lengths. As we've seen there with Derek. Derek's gone right for the corners. He's trying to get as far as he can with the jack and dictate the play. But so far, Robert's got control of the jack, and he'll go where he wants to go.
And that is a good lead in that position. There is daylight. There is room here for Derek Ripley. A little bit of nerves there, just trying to settle. Get it absolutely right. And that's the terrace banking in the background. That's where the bookies are. That's where the money boys are. And this is the bowl. Not quite right. Unlucky. So, Robert Crawshaw. 7 across. Holding 1. Into the 4th end. Trying to add a second. Working now. Looks at the jack. Says hello. Thank you. Holds 2. Derek Ripley under pressure. Can't afford to let Crawshaw get away from it.
Just over a foot.
Just asking exactly the lie of the land from his opponent and from the referee before delivering this final bowl, which will now peg with the bias. And down, and trying. Unlucky. Bad news. Is he's left another 2. Another 2 to Robert Crawshaw. Exactly the start he wanted. 9-7 off the mat, off the little footer which they used there as a starting point. Crawshaw again. Knows this pretty well. Will pick his way around it. 2048 set off originally in this tournament. Back in early July, so we've been going nearly 6 weeks, almost 6 days a week to get down to the final 8. Crawshaw sets the mark, sets the jack out, plays the lead. Looks all right, looks very tasty. Well, now he's going to challenge this, is he, John? Is he challenging the distance?
Yes. Derek obviously feels that the jack hasn't travelled 19 metres. That's the legal limit that the jack must travel to be marked. And now the 2 referees will come on and measure the distance and check it out.
Yes. Actually, Derek Ripley has had a little walk up and down. And I think he knows this is a mark. Oh, it's easily a mark.
Run out of tape.
Yeah,
It's a mark. Leave it there.
Leave it there, says the referee, George. Gertrude. Right, that is a genuine mark. It looked it. I don't know whether Derek Ripley was just trying to slow down this charge of Robert Crawshaw, but it was certainly way over 20 metres. The irony now would be if he put one on the jack. That would be very nasty. What's he doing here? It's just gone through. It's a nice mark. Ripley will not be troubled by this sort of mark. So, Robert Crawshaw, holding 1. May only be 1. Ripley on the footer, waiting. Just wants to know whether it's 1 against him or 2. That will determine the choice of shot. It is 1 at the moment. He may elect to run at the bowl that's counting at the moment. A little bit of running in the bowl. He's got something to rest on and to work on, but he's not got it right. Try to play out the winning bowl, but another single. Robert Crawshaw.
Crawshaw
10-7
won.
his lead, and the strange thing about the Waterloo, John Bancroft, as you well know, is you can turn around after half a dozen ends and you're on the way to defeat.
Yes, it is a sprint. Getting a good start is all important. Although Derek's 10-7 behind, he's not done a lot wrong. He's no reason to be downhearted. It's not as though he's been throwing his bowls about. He's played 1 or 2 good bowls. It's just that Robert has led very well. He's played them close to the jack and he's coupled up.
Right. Robert Crawshaw places the jack where he wants it. There will be no challenge from Ripley. This is a good lead. Beautiful. What a good bowl, Crawshaw. He's looking hot. The pressure now is already on Ripley, because if Crawshaw were to count maybe 2 at this end, there is certainly daylight. So, Ripley, hoping the bowl can work with the bias. Tuck round the back. Not a lot wrong with it. Just his weight coming through. Crawshaw, lovely stylist. This is the land. This is the lie of the land. Crawshaw after it. Looking to count 2. What a good coupling that is. Now this, John, he's going to have to use a bit of weight, isn't it?
Yes, Derek will be looking to use the striking shot at this now to try and clear Robert's bowls and the jack off the green.
Yes, he has a funny winding up action when he strikes. Long strike forward, the bowl is on its way. Can he just clip it? He's got the gap, he's got his own. Well, that was really an unfortunate strike in that the connection he wanted, John, he didn't get, did he?
No, he wasn't too far off. He's only missed it with a couple of inches, but take nothing away from Robert. It's exhibition stuff at the moment. He's leading really well, and that's what the game's all about. There's only 2 bowls at Crown Green Bowls, so you don't want to waste any of them, and your first bowl is the important one. If you can put one anywhere near the jack, especially as Robert is with these short marks, it's putting your opponent under pressure, making him reach up, and then giving you self-chance to couple up.
Yes, it's all about leading this game. Judgment, line and length. Hold your nerve. Nearly a yard through.
Now, this is the first end that is give Derek any room whatsoever, so it's very important, really, for Derek to step in here.
Well, I don't think he's quite as overweight as Robert. Got a chance now. Got a chance. Stop. Yep, just about right. We are into the 7th end. Crawshaw, 12-7, but 1 against him. Looking to make amends for that first delivery, needs an adjustment, and he's got it. What a correction. Good stuff. Now he wants to know. Ripley will ask the referee how many are against him. Just the 1. The option then again is the strike. He hasn't signalled yet. It's very difficult to beat the bowl, so he is going to strike. Here we go again. He's winding up the right arm, and the bowl is on his way. Got a chance. Got a chance. The jack is going to go off the green. Good strike. He's got one line at last. And that was the result he wanted, John.
Yes, it's a good strike, that. He didn't fire at top speed. He's used pretty control weight there, and he's cleared everything off the green. He'll be pleased with that result.
So that is now a dead end. They will restart a metre in from where the jack went off. No points are scored at that end, but Crawshaw, who set the mark at the previous end, retains the jack and sets the mark again. So Crawshaw. Picking out some nice territory, not quite the flat green territory that in 1987 saw him runner-up in the, look at this lead, in the England indoor triples with Gordon Niven, who is player with the Bolton club, and of course Noel Burrows, another well-known Crown flat bowler who skipped them. And of course Crawshaw in the 1986 Super Bowl counted a remarkable win against David Bryant. Now an unlucky connection there for Derek Ripley. There's nothing going for him. It's around this time, John, you start wondering, isn't it?
Well, yeah, things are not just going right for him, but again, he's not really throwing a lot of bad balls. It's just that Roberts playing so well. I mean, he's been unfortunate there that he's running the back of it.
Look at this, John. That's 2, isn't it?
It just looks that way from here.
Just nudged through, didn't it? You want to know. It's 2, you see. The last end where it was 1, he struck and took everything off. Well, this time he's going to try the other hand, is he? Work his way round. No, he's not. He's all it might have done, but he's missed it completely. He's missed it completely. And left 2. That really was a slack end for Derek. He disowns that one. How did that happen? No way. That's not my bowl.
That's the first sign of nerves really from Derek there. I think he's starting to feel it a little bit now. The crowd are probably start going to get on his back now because they don't have a lot of sympathy when he starts sending bad balls just like here in Blackpool.
Well, they all play, John, and as you know, everybody out there is a better player than on the green. But at 14-7 to Crawshaw, it's just sort of getting a little dark. The last Yorkshire winner of the Waterloo was Roy Nicholson back in 1981, but prior to that it was Albert Ringrose in 1948. Good lead. Robert Crawshaw.
Good stuff this from Robert.
Well, it is, but of course he makes his own bowls, doesn't it? Because he is a bowls maker.
He is, yes, in Stockport.
Got the right tackle.
He'll have to make me some if they keep going this near the Jack.
Well, that's a good look at this. It's unlucky. Roy Armson is down greenside and very close to the action. Roy, how do you weigh all this up?
Well, down here at greenside, the conditions are absolutely perfect for bowling. It's very warm. There's just a slight breeze, and I noticed that the heavy dew that was apparent overnight has gone. The sun has burnt that off. The green's freshly mown, and it's playing absolutely perfectly. It really makes you want to play. I'm sure that many of the people in the crowd would absolutely love to be on that green playing, and consequently the bowlers are playing the bowls very closely. It's going to be a fascinating match.
Thank you, Roy. Among the people who'd like to be playing out there, Roy Armson, of course. Now then, Derek Ripley put a little running in the ball, tries to take it out and fails. And that, unfortunately, has been the story of Derek Ripley this morning. Look at this, John.
Yeah, that's been Derek's problem. He's not really connected apart from one occasion with his through balls, really, his strikes or his control weight shots.
Yes, well, at 15-7 to the man in red. One heck of a task. Ripley started out as 3-1 on. We started out as 2-1 against to win the heat, while Crawshaw was 3-1 on. A lot of money on Crawshaw to go all the way. Been there before. Runner-up to Brian Duncan in 1992. Losing semi-finalist in 1990. Crawshaw has been there before. Ripley is trying to get there, but it's all stacked against him. Good bowl. A lot of sympathy in that applause for Derek Ripley. The rubs have gone against him, but Crawshaw has played the bowls. And he play one now. Got a good bowl to beat. Got a good bowl to beat. No, it's just dropped short. A little bit of danger here for Ripley, because he wants to know if he makes contact on the bowl from Crawshaw, he could knock him in. So he's got to steer well wide. We might get a view of this. He's going to have to go well wide at the short bowl.
He's changing his peg and coming thumb peg now and trying to miss the ball on the backside.
Well, it's a brave shot, John. He's trying, isn't he? He's trying. He's trying. He's trying. Well, we don't know. He's certainly won, Derek Ripley, and that's after a run of 9, a break of 9 for Crawshaw. Certainly one to Ripley.
He's just been unlucky there. He's just touched his own ball and just gone out.
Yes. As we say, the players themselves will determine the end unless there is a bit of a dispute, and they can call for a measure, but only on the completion of the end, of course. In the meantime, they can ask the referee, and he will give them his opinion on who is lying in. Now, Ripley has tried to get to these big corners. It was a long time since he tried it. It was the second end where he counted a double. Now, at the 9th end, he counted a single, and now we're into the 10th end. And really, there's no turning back. He's got to start counting. Now look at this, down and over and off the crown. Big crown, 11 inches, but it extends. Good lead there, John.
Yes, it's a big yard from the jack, but at Crown Green bowls, a yard bowl isn't always a bad one because the level of the green isn't even, and you're going over the crown. Sometimes you're going up to 65 yards in length, so a yard bowl is sometimes a good bowl. Especially with square in this bottom corner, what is commonly known as the gate corner.
I wonder if Roy Arnson's got a good view down there. Roy, this is a tricky corner. The first bowl a yard short, the second 2 yards. What chances?
Well, I'm about 10 feet from where the jack is, and as John said, it's just a yard from the edge. Very precarious. Anything, it's very, very close, nearly gone off. But actually, that's not counting. It's only once. Gone. It's gone. But even though the bowl's a yard short, it's a very difficult bowl to beat. Here he is now, Robert, coming thumb peg, coming right up and over the crown. Looks good. Looking good. Just going to die, is it? Just limping in. There it is. It's won it. Good bowl.
Thank you, Roy. Those magic words. Won it. 1 to red. Crawshaw back in the driving seat. 16-8 his advantage. And again he picks fresh land. John Bancroft, I think he's counted his points on a different piece of land every end.
Yeah, but Derek will be very disappointed, really. He needed to count that end so he could go right full distance, right in the corners as far as he can. If Robert has got, I wouldn't say a weakness, but it's certainly not his strength to play right in the corners. On these short sort of 25, 30 yard length marks, he's one of the top players.
Yes, let's remind people back home there is a vast difference between the crown and flat bowls, of course. Derek Ripley were using 2 pound 11 ounce, and John Bancroft, Robert Crawshaw, 2 pound 10. So there is a big difference in this game. Robert Crawshaw, a length bowl against him. He set the mark. And he's urging the bowl to bend right at the end and fall back maybe. I think not. Derek Ripley is on for 1. He's going to fancy his chances of 2. Right, this is the challenge. He got it right. All wrist movements, Derek Ripley. Stands, watches. Is he confident? He is. Just nudges the jack for 2. Confirmed as 2 to Ripley. The second double of the 5 he's counted to add to the 5 start. And there are various sort of turning points in games of bowls, John, and at 10-16, this might just be one.
Well, again, Derek needs to establish a pattern to his game. What he keeps trying to do is go into the corners, and get the long lengths going, start playing a few leads, putting Robert under pressure. But Robert's not allowing him to count at least 2 ends together, so he can't establish a pattern to his game.
Oh, it's a very mixed game too. Robert Crawshaw sticking to his 28, 30, 35 yard marks. Ripley anxious to get distance and lead well. And he's done precisely that.
Now that's the first time he's played any sort of a decent lead off his own jack. So
difficult to beat there, John, because it's in the approach, isn't it, on that hand?
It is. It's slightly in the way. It's slightly more uphill into this corner, so you can often play short balls.
So it's a push. Even with the green running well, with a shaving this morning, with a bit of dew on it, it's going to quicken during the day, hopefully. Nearly 3,000 people in here now. many spare seats. Derek Ripley.
Now what he needs to do now is couple up here, play another good second ball, make sure that he puts Robert under a bit of pressure.
It's not a great second ball, John, but it is counting too. And Robert will fancy cutting the count here, won't he?
He will do, but the ball's slightly in the way, so he's got to get past them all. He's got three balls in his way
he's
there.
Far enough. He's far enough. He's far enough. Oh. I went against him that time, but he certainly cut the count to a single.
Ripley, 1.
Yeah, well, a little bit of bad fortune here for Robert this time. He just runs into the back of that first bowl and stops. Good stuff. Another single. Derek Ripley. And now, John, for the first time, he's in a corner and in a position to go full corners.
That's right. If he chooses now, and he has done, he's gone right as far as he can into the other corner. The jack, when it finishes, is probably going to be 45, 50 yards at least.
Oh, more, I think, John, isn't it? Wait a minute. Try and work it out. All right, 50.
Yeah.
This is a difficult corner, isn't it? This is the one all the bowlers will tell you is the hardest corner.
Yes, well, it's a faster running corner, slightly downhill, and there's a ridge running down into the corner, so you've got to have your bowls on the right side of the ridge or they never recover.
Well, we can see that actually from the picture, John. He's missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got on the wrong side of the ridge with his ball, and even with the bias of the ball, it will not allow it to peg over the top of the ridge.
So Robert Crawshaw can learn from that. He will know the mark in any event, but he gets a sighter from the first bowl delivered by Derek Ripley. Now then, it looks a better line. It's just his length, isn't it? Just let him down. It's a good road.
And this is the difference in the length that is all part of the game, really. Now the man with the jack dictates the length of the jack, and this is where the difficulty comes in. When you haven't got the jack, you're playing unfamiliar length, and it's hard to put those balls near the jack.
You lose the feel-good factor, John. And what about this? So is he feeling good about this? Just about. Oh,
It's just limped in, but Robert's got plenty of room, really. He should be beating these, Robert.
it's all right for us up here, John.
Well, he'll be disappointed if he doesn't beat these.
I know. But the nerves start playing havoc here. Clip off it. That's the way. That's the way to do it. Oh, dear me. Now, that is going to count, you know. Oh, dear. That is going to count, I think. But a very fortunate knock on wood that was for Robert Crawshaw. They'll wait and have a look. Robert's got to arrive. Have a look. Fancies his, claims his.
Crawshaw,
Derek
1.
can't believe it. It's 1. Robert Crawshaw. It was a very slack end, but it gives Crawshaw now at 17-11 a chance of going for game. Right up to the centre of the crown, John, because it's a wide spread, the crown, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't go to a sharp point.
Oh, no.
It's spread right down to the edge of the green here at the Waterloo.
Now just run a little bit more, and that will be an excellent lead. It's a difficult mark to adjust to. Bear in mind, we've just been going a distance of in excess of 50 yards to something like 30, 35. Big adjustment. Terry Ripley, the wrist bowler. Not a great arm movement there. Just wants his bowl to work now and edge past the red disc like that. Well, that is appreciated, and he likes that. He likes that. Good stuff. Very difficult now for Robert to negotiate a way through. He's got to be far enough. He might just get a nice contact. It's hard luck. Try to find another way in. Still counting. Derek Ripley. Confirmed by referee
Only about
George
9 inches,
Cartwright.
the most.
9 inches. Can't afford
About
to make
9
a
inches,
contact.
no more than 9. To put him on.
Well, I hope you understood that at home. Any connection on the Crawshaw bowl could knock him in, providing it's something like 9 inches. So he's got to steer well clear of that. On his way. Mind you, he's got to play bravely now. He's got to go for it. He's got to try and count 2. He's holding 1. Well, he's got to rest on the back bowl, but I don't think so. I don't think so.
Ripley, 1.
Just the 1. Well, it's another single. Derek Ripley slowly pegging back. 12-17 off the footer. But the cleverness of the dodge there by Robert is that he can't get full corners unless he wins 2 ends anyway.
That's right. Robert's gone right into the middle of the green. He's forcing Derek just to go right back where they've come from, which is a length that's going to suit Robert. It's all part of the tactics of the game.
You push the jack as far as he dare, and the danger is that it could work against him. No, that's the jack. They come in different colours, white and yellow, and I saw Robert practicing with a red one earlier. Never seen a red jack before. Maybe that's one of his own making. Now then, Ripley. This is the way the bias has got to work for him. He's got to swing left to right as we look at it. Again, there is a ridge down there, so if he gets the wrong side of it, he's no chance. Crawshaw. Narrowed the line. Has he learned from the Ripley bowl? Is he far enough? He's not, you know. So a good chance for Ripley to correct. Takes his time. No wonder. 12-17 against him. Occasionally steps off the foot and then steps back out, composes himself and delivers as he delivered the goods. They're all over the place, aren't they, this end? It's there for the winning.
It's a very slack end, this.
There's no indication he was on, John. I think Robert could be on, couldn't he?
I think Robert's on. I think he's going to go for a double here.
Yeah, double header, and that's bad news. 17-12, let's remind you, holding 1, needing 2 to get very close to a win, but it is a loose end. The nerves are affecting Derek Ripley. It's all against him. He's kicked his balls in. It's 2. 2 to Crawshaw. Now then, at 19-12, he could win it at the next end. He's counted 4 doubles already. He's going back up to virtually the centre of this green onto the crown. Lead now, and the pressure absolutely on Derek Ripley. Crawshaw just strokes that one out. Crowd quiet, slowly, a little bit of a hum. Slight applause. Not bad. We're into the 16th end. There was one dead end. We're into the 16th end of a game that's getting away from Derek Ripley. He can just ghost inside the first bowl if he's far enough. If he's far enough, he's not. He's into the back of Robert Crawshaw's first bowl. Promotes it a couple of inches. Now just over a foot away from the jack. And he's just 2 chalks away from a semi-final place. He needs to put more running in this, but he's not. He's not. He ain't going to win at this end. Ripley. He will have the final say of the 16th end. He can't be short. He can't afford to be short. He's got to find a way past the 3 bowls and up to the jack and try and take the jack. He's unlucky. That was the tactic.
Crawshaw, 1.
Another single. Robert Crawshaw. All but 12, as we say, in the Crown Green game. 1 point away from victory. Beautiful day here in Blackpool. Look at this crowd, 3,000, they're all loving it. You know, when the tournament started, just 1 or 2 seats there, tell somebody quick. Years ago, they started, you know, as a late season tournament. And as an obstructive view, that's why that's clear. Years ago, this was an October event when they started. They had 3 tournaments, 19, 7, 8 and 9. Didn't get the entries. It was a bit cool and damp, so they left it in 1910, brought it back in 1911, and ever since then it's been September-ish, and it's brought the crowds in, and it's grown from 300 entries to 2,048. Derek Ripley knows now. He's not going to get anything. 2012. Robert Crawshaw holds the one he needs for game. He'll stick another one in, won't he? Just past the jack. Just go past the jack if you can. No. But he's counted two. He only needs one. Derek Ripley, good applause there. He's bowled very well. He's put the pressure always on Derek Ripley, who now has to counter this, and or it's a bus ride or car ride back to Yorkshire. This is it, to decide the first semi-finalist. Has he picked up the jack? Has he played the ball? He's, you know, he's rubbed it, he's looked at it, he's gone through and he's gone out. And that really is an excellent win for Robert Crawshaw. The game finishes and it ends with a handshake. But John Bancroft, very quickly, I think your tip was right. He's a big occasion bowler.
Yes, he is a big occasion bowler, Robert, but take nothing away from Derek really there. He hasn't played too bad, it's just that Robert's led so well on those little short marks, and he's been forcing Derek to play up, play through balls. Derek's never really had the opportunity to establish his pattern to the game, so all credit to Robert really there. It's an excellent performance.
So a fascinating opening match. First quarter-final, Derek Ripley putting up a good show, but it's Robert Crawshaw through to the semi-finals. And coming up in just a moment, the man who's really dominated this event in recent years, Brian Duncan. He takes on Ken Strutt in our second quarter-final. That to look forward to in a couple of minutes from now here in Blackpool.
From the home of sports, this is Sky.
Welcome back to the Waterloo in Blackpool. We've had a fascinating opening quarter-final match here in the Greenhalgh's 1995 finals. It was just as the bookies predicted, in fact, because Robert Crawshaw, the odds-on favourite, in fact, going through to the semi-finals, and our winner now is talking to Roy Arnson.
Well, Robert, it's always nice to get that first game in the can. How did you feel about it?
Well, I felt very comfortable, really. Obviously, I got off to a good start with Derek, and he couldn't exert any real pressure on me. So, yeah, it was nice and comfortable.
Perhaps just one moment of concern when Derek lay 13-16 and you came with that ball that was always far enough and just wicked in off.
Well, I didn't know he got to 13-16. I never really looked at the score all game. I was happy with the way I was playing, and I always felt that he wouldn't really get a run on me.
What do you think about the green this morning, Robert?
It's beautiful. It's probably running quicker than it has done all week. And I've seen Derek play. I took great pains to watch his games from the last 64. And he never really played anything else other than corners. So it was a game plan today to shorten him right down and see how he performed.
Good, well, that's our first semi-finalist through, David. Over to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, John Bancroft's been watching that match, of course, and commentating on it. John, your thoughts? You suspected that Crawshaw would be too good, indeed he was. Yeah,
he's played a top-class game there, Robert. Derek obviously is going to be disappointed as he's lost, but he's not done an awful lot wrong, really. I think on the day Robert was just too good for him, but there'll be plenty of happy punters out there because, as I said before, there's a lot of big money going on, Robert, for this tournament.
Yeah, Robert was making the point that the green is playing beautifully, and it certainly does look to be playing splendidly, and it looks immaculate.
Yeah, it's in fantastic condition. It's the best condition it's been in for years, actually. It's a credit to the greensman here.
How important is it the way it feels, you know, when you go out for that quarter-final stage? You know, you need to get it right just really from that first bowl, don't you?
That's right. How you play the first end really dictates the rest of the game. I mean, if you send a couple of bad bowls, obviously it doesn't settle your nerves, where if you play a couple of good ones, obviously you feel as though you're involved in the game, you're into it, you can start dictating your pattern of play. But if you send a few loose ones at the first few ends, the crowd get on your back here at the Waterloo, and then it's hard work then.
OK, so that's Crawshaw against Ripley out of the way. Coming next, of course, it's Strutt and Duncan.
Well, this is the game of the quarter-finals, really. This is a real hard match to choose, really. I mean, obviously Duncan's the big favourite, but Ken Strutt played a fantastic game yesterday.
Well, you mentioned Ken Strutt. Let's take a brief check on the pen picture of Ken Strutt, and there we are. He plays for the Georgian Dragon, Friesland, his best ever. Well, he was a finalist here 13 years ago, and again, another very experienced county player. And as you say, in particularly good form right now, John.
Yeah, he's playing well. He's probably not at his best season overall, but just at the moment he's been playing some really good bowls. I mean, in 1982 they lost in the final, and he's considered to be one of the unluckiest men ever to lose in the final of the Waterloo.
I guess from the reception the crowd gave him, a very popular player too.
Yes, he is. I mean, both these men are well known throughout the bowling world, and they're popular with the punters because they always feel that they're getting value for money when they back these two. They always know they can get a good run, and they're real hard triers, both of them.
Brian Duncan, of course, as I've said, is the 5 times former champion, Mr. Crown Green Bowls. He really is the hot favourite here, and not surprisingly, when you look at this, 5 times winner. He's won so many other tournaments as well, 50 appearances for his county, 51 years of age, but Brian Duncan really is the hot name, and really the bookies obviously fancy him too, John.
Well, you'd be hard-pressed to go down there and get a bet on Brian Duncan at the moment. You'd probably be looking at getting 5 to 4 at best, really. There's been a lot more money from this morning. Everybody else, everybody loves to see Brian Duncan play bowls. Most of everyone wants to see him get beaten, but everyone wants to see him play. I mean, he's the best that the game's ever produced by a long way. I mean, he's a fantastic player.
In a word, what's it going to take to stop him? Because he looks unstoppable, doesn't he?
The toss is going to be very important in this game, actually. Brian has a particular amount that he chooses to play, and where they're starting from, if he wins a toss, he'll come finger peg into this commentary box corner, and if he gets in there, he's right on his favourite mark, right in the corners. It's very important that Ken either wins the toss or at least gets in that first end to keep Brian off that mark.
OK, well, we'll see how it works out. It's Ken Strutt against Brian Duncan. That's our next quarter-final. Let's now join our commentary team of Roy Armson and Hugh Johns.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second of the quarter-finals, playing in the blue shirt, will be Ken Strutt, and in the red shirt, Brian Duncan. Over to the referee, Mr. Alwyn Owen, to start the game.
Right. Mr. Alwyn Owen is the commentator.
Tells it's your block, Brian. Good game.
Referee for this game.
Game, Brian.
In red,
If you want to know, ask.
the king of crown bowls, Brian Duncan. Man who has been bowling for 39 years. Started as a lad at 12, and in that 39 years he's won the admiration of spectators throughout the game of crown bowls, and the respect, the undoubted respect of every man, woman and child who plays this game. This man has, he's done it all. He's been there, he's seen that, he's got the T-shirt, and he is still the man that every bowler wants to beat. Ken Strutt could be that man in this match. Ken on the road with his first through. And the winning of this end is an important factor in Brian Duncan's tactical planning, because if he wins this end, I think I'm right in saying, Roy Armson, he will be on his favourite mark.
Yes, as John Bancroft said, the importance of winning the toss to Brian is vital. He always plays finger peg in this corner. He always starts the game here if he wins, and this is his favourite mark. And as you rightly say, unless Ken can stop him, he will now go finger peg right into the corner of the north stand, and he'll go a distance around about 62 yards.
62 yards with an almost round object that won't run straight because it's biased, and it's got to go over an 11-inch little mountain out in the middle of what we look down on from here as a perfectly flat square, but it isn't. It's 45 yards square, and I believe Pythagoras then tells us that's about 63 yards into the corner. Brian Duncan scoring on the board 6, but of course everybody starts on 5 in the Waterloo handicap. That dates back, donkey's years, when this competition first started in 1907, when the professional players were handicapped against the predominantly amateur players, so shots had to be given away. And even now, of course, that old tradition still obtains, Roy.
Yes, that's right. Although the rules of handicapping have changed over the past decade, the situation now is that whoever wins the competition this year will be penalised 2 chalks, but for 1 year only.
Chalks is the term used in the scoring process of crown bowls because of the old-fashioned marking system of slates, pieces of slate and a chalk to see who's doing what. And there goes Ken Strutt. He's in. And listen to that applause. With the odds as short as they are, I don't know what the heat is. Roy, did you get a pick up on what the winner of the heat is on at the moment?
Yes, the heat betting for this game, if you wanted to back Brian Duncan, you would have to lay 5-2 on. For Ken Strutt, you could have 7-4. And that was a very good end for Ken Strutt, and noticing him walking across the green there, he's a very, very slow, methodical player, never hurries, very, very consistent. And in this game, because he knows that Brian likes to play quickly, he'll be even slower, I think.
Strutt, finger peg, but Bias dropped him down below and hadn't got the weight to get the full distance. Brian also falling into that same trap, I think, weight-wise.
Yes, this is one of Ken Strutt's favourite marks, Hugh. He always likes to come finger peg up here. In point of fact, he's changed his hand with that ball. He's coming thumb peg because Brian's ball's in the way.
He's coming in backhand and he gets a very good collision. Excellent. Well, that's a good promotion for his first bowl, and his second has dropped into it as a counter at the moment. Brian Duncan taking the same course. That is turning the bowl over, different bias, run, and saving, and winning. What a magnificent delivery that was.
Yes, Ken Strutt actually showed Brian the way in, going thumb peg. Absolutely perfect bowl. Perfect length, just brushed the jack and stayed in to count.
So Brian Duncan gets the block back in his grasp and sends it out into that far corner, hoping to win the end and then proceed back onto his favorite diagonal across the green. Well, it is sunny Blackpool, as you can see. The forecast, there's pretty poor for weather today. Rain was forecast, but as usual, I think the lads at the Met Office may have got it wrong. Certainly it's a summer-clad holiday crowd here at the Waterloo. This beautiful green in the shadow of the Waterloo Hotel in the Waterloo Road in Blackpool. Well, Brian's found one there. Ken Strutt to save. Hey, the road is right. The road is right. What about the weight? It's done. No, it hasn't.
Duncan, 1.
Nope. So, Brian Duncan, another single. And as we said, Brian Duncan, man who has won this enormous, prestigious tournament more times than any man in the history going back as far as 1907. In fact, only two bowlers have ever won it twice. That was Bernard Kelly many years ago, and then Arthur Murray won it twice. But this man, Brian Duncan, 5 times the winner of the Waterloo. The Waterloo, which is the FA Cup final, if you like, of Crown Bowls.
I noticed actually at the weekend, Hugh, a lot of people think that Brian Duncan just turns up to a green and just sends his bowl and plays. But I was here for the final of the Ladies Waterloo Championship, which finished around 5:30 in the evening. The first player on the green at the conclusion of play to practice, Brian Duncan.
Well, he's on a length, and that is a winner at this moment. But Ken Strutt has one to come. Referee Alvin Owen having a little look.
The red one's favourite.
Well, that's what you have to put up with here at the Waterloo. Everybody's an expert out in that audience. tight line, but the running looks good. If it stops now, it wins it. Gone out. So that's another one to Brian Duncan. And Ken Strutt's certainly taking his time about walking around the green.
Yes, he was a little unfortunate there, Hugh. If he'd have just touched the jack,
Duncan,
he'd
one.
likely to have had two. But Brian now going once again in his favourite corner. One of the areas that he's very expert at is absolutely placing the jack in the right position. Both the players are playing with identical weight bowls. They're both playing with 2 pound 12-ounce composition bowls. But I think Brian has quickly sussed out that his bowls are just fractionally stronger than Ken's, and I think he'll try and exploit this along this ridge.
And the strength of the bowls is in the amount that it will bend. It will turn with the bias. Ken Strutt, of course, with a bowling family around him. His son Paul, a very, very fine bowler, and his daughter Debbie, pretty good too. And that, of course, was the other way of getting in.
Yes, to be fair, I think it would have won it with a clear, but just that little wick helped it just to diverge it to the left near to the jack. Here's Brian going now. He's trying to just sit on that bowl.
Too strong, it's overcoming the bias. The bend won't happen until it got past the target. This, of course, the great thing. You've got to be able to get the length of the bowl to get it there and have it slowing down just when you want it to, so that the bias can move the bowl sideways. But that's an important in for Ken Strutt to win, because it stops Brian going back into his favourite playing area. Ken Strutt, a 57-year-old bowler. He came to bowls actually rather late. It was he was 26 years old when he first started. Self-employed card nailer, which I understand is a fairly important job in the textile industry.
Once again, Ken coming finger peg towards the pub. The feature of this mark is that most of the players know it's 2 yards slower coming up to the pub here, and that's quite a good league. And the other feature is that the bowls just tend to hang back against the bias here. They don't pull as much as you think they would do.
The bowler's bowling directly at the one area of this stadium which is standing room only, and it's there that the bookies populate. And the bowlers will get plenty of information from that audience down there as to whether they're on or not.
Brian's got a good shot on here. I think he'll go and try and take that jack through and count two. No, he's playing to beat it, but I think he's short. That's very uncharacteristic of Brian.
Strutt, one.
You're getting out for short. So Ken Strutt. Finger peg bowl, that's in flat bowls terms, lawn bowls terms, a forehand bowl. The bias on the right of the bowl as it runs towards the jack, and there's the bias working, dragging it in. Needs to hit something. Ken Strutt turning his bowl over. This time, thumb peg, backhand. crowd let Brian Duncan know.
2.
And a double for Ken Strutt. Well, that's the first double of the game, and that's very uncharacteristic of Brian. Got his weight totally wrong there.
Yes, I think he was also inside the line as well, which meant it narrowed away from the jack. But I think Ken Strutt is doing what we call in sail here. He's doing a little bit of grinding. You know, he's just grinding away at Brian, slowing him down, and it's just having its effect. This is the crucial end now. If he counts this end, he'll really think that he's got a big chance.
You can very seldom tell what Ken Strutt is thinking behind what he wears as an impenetrable mask. I've never seen him smile. I don't know whether he does, but absolutely dour. I think that may have gone out for Brian Duncan. He looks anxiously over.
Blue ball.
Yes, the blue bowl is counting. Ken Strutt's blue bowl, his first one. Hold that line, hold that line, hold that line. Probably 2, yes. Duncan with some saving to do, or perhaps still some winning to do. Or the crowd feel that he's got a hit. Oh, he found the gap. Well, that's doubles back-to-back for Ken Strutt. 12-9.
Strutt, 2.
Yes, he was hoping to get a connection on the jack there, take it through for 2, but went clear and left Ken Strutt 2. Very important end, and those bookmakers down there will all be rubbing their hands now. They can see a little bit of a light in the window from what this morning looked a very dark room, because a lot of them are going to lose a fair bit of money.
Well, I wonder what the odds are fluctuating on the heat down there now. And the crowd urging that to go in. These two will have met before many times over the years. And Brian is finding it difficult out there. It's fair to say that 95 has not been one of Brian Duncan's best years of bowls. Won a couple of events, the Green All Inns Invitation, the Whitbread Masters. But Brian has not been winning with the alarming consistency of many previous years. Trying to wave it in, he's short. That's 2 more.
2.
That's 2 more. Well, this really is dramatic.
Yes, they're both in the same boat, actually, Hugh. Ken Strutt also has had a pretty quiet year by his own high standards. Hasn't been playing to the top of his form, but I was talking to some of the people from Oldham yesterday, and they feel that in the last 3 to 4 weeks, he's shown glimpses of his usual standard. And here he is playing thumb peg to the pub again, just a little bit on the low side, a good length, but that's nearly 4 feet off.
Duncan's really got to get that block back in his hands. This critical crowd telling everybody that it was on its way out when it was only halfway down the green. They like that one. Still there to be beaten. On the high side, gone out. Hey, that could be 2 more.
2.
It is. Well, Brian Duncan. Duncan being taken to the cleaners here.
Yes, he was looking to find a length here, and he's really struggling with the length. It went 2 yards past the jack. left Ken Strutt too, and Brian's body language shows you that he's really struggling with his game now, and it's the length that's getting him. He just can't get this length, and I think it's time now he should just slow his second bowl down a bit. Ken Strutt going back from whence he came, 35 yards, thumb peg just underneath the crown.
And that's 4 doubles on the trot. I should think those 4 doubles have made Brian Duncan punch drunk. Well, Ken's lead there wasn't as good as it has been in the last couple of ends. Brian needs to find one here. The road is not quite good enough, and the weight is letting him down. He's having more difficulty with weight in this match than I think I've ever seen him. No, Strutt is there. Oh, yes, sir. Ken is strutting his stuff out here.
And Brian having a close look at this now. It's important. It's only one. I think he'll have a go at that.
Yep, he's having a bang. Our cameraman in some danger there. Hey! Got one out.
Duncan.
Got one out. Left himself in. So Brian Duncan did it.
Yes, one down. He struck at the bowl, got it out, just half bowled it, flirted it out. Brian Duncan counts the end. What a lifesaver. Here he is now, and I think he'll go in the opposite corners. He'll go thumb peg down to the heavy part of the green. This is about 50 yards going in this corner. But the feature of this corner is that when you stand down there an awful lot, I mean, I've stood down there for about 20 years, you see good bowls beaten. A bowl a foot off in this corner is not sure to count.
Well underneath, but weight-wise that wasn't too bad. Weight-wise that wasn't too bad. That's going the distance. That's going the distance, all right. That's right on the button. Oh, what a bowl. From some 50 yards away, and he's, what, 6 inches from the jack. It'll need a wonder bowl from Brian to beat it. It's got a chance. It's got a chance. So unlucky. Ken Strutt holding one. All he needs is to remember exactly what he did just a few moments ago. Deliver his second bowl in the same way.
He's gone the other way in, actually.
Yes, he
He's
has.
gone finger peg, and this is a very difficult peg. If he finds one here, he's done really well.
Now,
One to Strutt.
well, I wonder what caused him to turn his bowl over, Roy.
I think he thought that Brian's second bowl was nearer than it was, and he was worried about hitting his own bowl onto the jack and putting Brian in. But I think if he'd have had a little bit more knowledge of the geography there, I think he would have gone the same peg. Anyway, he's in pole position now. He's going up over the green now.
Well,
going thumb peg.
There's the hotel that stands just above this fine green. The Waterloo Hotel in the Waterloo Road, Blackpool, where the Waterloo Handicap is played. Sunshine bathing the green, and summer-suited audience, something around 3,000 of them, enjoying this tussle. Ken Strutt, it's against him at the moment, and Duncan is still holding.
1 to Duncan.
Just 1 to Duncan. What may be going through Ken Strutt's mind now, I wonder if it did. 13 years ago, on this very green, Ken Strutt reached the final of the Waterloo Handicap, 1982. And there he was with Dennis Mercer, and he was 59 up. His nose in front, 6 chalks in front, and yet he lost it, 20-21. And with Brian Duncan, you can never, ever say that you've beaten him until the 21st point is up on the board. Ken a little heavy. Brian chasing his bowl in. He needs to kick it because it's not going to arrive. Downcast Duncan.
Ken Strutt looking here, Hugh. I think he's going to strike at that ball. It's certainly easier to hit it than beat it.
Yes. He can knock that red bowl out and stay on the green himself. How close is he? Got it. What a fine shot.
1 to Strutt.
Brilliant piece of bowling, Lloyd.
Yes, Ken was only 1 down, and he knew that if he hit this ball, quarter ball or any ball, he'd get it out. And 1 to Strutt. What a brilliant strike.
Hey, I just wonder whether this could be Ken Strutt's year. He's won so many great things in the game of bowls. The McKinley's 31 up here on this Waterloo green, for instance. Greater Manchester Merit winner twice. Oh, his winning sheet is covered with fine victories. And he's certainly on song here now.
Yes, you see that little extra strength in the ball there, Hugh, that little extra bias just pulled it on the narrow side of the jack. Ken's going thumb peg here. Not a lot of bend in the ball. The aiming point's only 2 foot to the left of the jack.
Steady up, steady up, steady up. Yes. A little kiss on the block as he went past to tuck it in tighter, but Brian, he can only whack at this now. Here he goes. Got one out.
1 to Strutt.
Yes, Brian hoping to get rid of the jack here, but he just got 1 ball and left Ken Strutt in with 1. So Ken's going for game at this end now.
So Ken Strutt with a 19-11 advantage, which is an enormous distance. Tremendous mountain Brian Duncan would have to climb to stay alive in this, the 87th running of the Waterloo Handicap.
Going to a part of the green which they've not visited before. Brilliant lead again. Just about 14 inches past the jack. Very difficult for Brian now.
Thumb peg with the bias bringing it down and being assisted by the slope and Brian Duncan's boulder beauty. And Ken Strutt, I think, signifying that he plans to put some weight in this. The referee has not gone round. And the bowl crashes in, just missing our photographer down at the green side, our cameraman. Which is added to the enjoyment of the audience here. Creep.
1 to
Just
Duncan.
1. And Duncan still alive. A little unwell, but he's still alive, Roy.
Yes, very important end for Brian Duncan. Ken had a luxury strike there. He could have played a yard over, but he felt he was so confident and had a good cushion of chalks, he thought he could go. And Brian's playing finger peg down to the pub corner. Just about 2'3" off there, but right in the line of the approach. Good chance.
If it stops, no, I think that's gone out, only by a couple of inches, but I think it's gone out. Brian Duncan is holding. The finger peg, that's what in lawn bowls would be called the forehand delivery. Doesn't want to hit that jack. No. He's in for 2. Brian Duncan counting 2 from what we can see. The bowlers will decide eventually. Chances, if he hits something and stops, yes. Well. Well, there you are. Not a flicker of emotion on the face of Ken Strutt as he accepts that little tiny piece of fat that came his way. Good enough delivery. It was a 50-50 chance that he was going to either dead draw or rest on the bowl. Whatever it was, he gets another single, and he's ahead now, 20-12. So he's all but 12. Ken Strutt must feel that this will now clinch his place in the semi-final. Close enough. Close enough. Brian Duncan has been bowling from behind for so long. And once again, he's got to try and find a magic bowl, and he has.
Taking a long time now. He was wondering whether he should strike or whether he should just play 2 foot through and run that jack. He's going the other way. He's going finger peg. I think he's on the low side.
Get all of it.
Well out. So Brian Duncan is still alive in this year's Waterloo handicap. Counting 1. And is awfully close to getting 2.
1 to Duncan.
No, didn't quite make the journey. Tell you what though, Roy, it's asking an awful lot of Brian Duncan, great man that he is and great events that he has won, to score 8 in a row now against Ken Strutt.
Yes, he won't have given it up yet. He feels that he'll feel if he can get another 3 chalks, he'll begin to put pressure on Ken. But the way Ken Strutt, the main thing is the way Ken Strutt's playing. He's not sending any rambling balls. He's just playing a yard over or playing a length. But Brian's got a good ball here. But really, it's a good bad one, isn't it? It's just at the side.
Yeah. That makes a bit of a target for Ken Strutt. He can rest on that bowl. So he can afford to go with a little bit extra weight. In with a chance. In with a chance. Got it. Well, Brian playing with extra weight now. The game's against him. It's all over. He turns his back on it. The handshake.
1 to Strutt.
And Ken Strutt takes the single that takes him through into the semi-final. 21-13. That is quite brilliant. That's as good as Ken Strutt has bowled this season. Well, Brian Duncan picks his bowls up, packs them away in his bag, and thinks about next year now. But Ken Strutt must believe that he's going through all the way this time after his disappointment of 1982 when he lost in the final. Ken Strutt down there now. We'll be talking in a moment with Brian Brett.
So a major surprise then here at the Waterloo in Blackpool. Brian Duncan, the 5 times former champion, is out, and it's Ken Strutt who goes through to the semi-finals. So what else is there to happen? Lots of drama, obviously, on the agenda here in Blackpool on this glorious September day. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Roller coaster ride for the 5 times former champion here at the Waterloo. Brian Duncan, surprisingly beaten by Ken Strutt. Look at those people on the big one. Sooner them than me. They don't know what they're missing, though, because we got some great action here at the Waterloo. We've just seen that second quarter-final. As I said, Brian Duncan is now out. Ken Strutt has gone through. He's talking to Brian Brett.
Yes, and with me out here on the green, the Waterloo green, the man of the moment, the man who's done the virtually unthinkable. He's beaten Brian Duncan, the hot favourite. Congratulations, Ken. You're delighted with that?
Yes, played very well there. Just got away at the middle of the game. 9-6 down. Brian just didn't lead quite as well in the corners, and just managed to find the middle there and play a few close ones.
Any nerves? You always look the quiet man. Have you got a few nerves in there?
Not really, no. I just play one game as it comes, and yeah.
You may have had a bit of a game plan, you may not, because I thought you played your own game, but you took into account the strong points of Duncan's game.
Well, that was the plan, just to keep him out of these 2 corners that he likes playing, you see, really.
But when you played these corners, you played them well.
Yes, well, he gave me a bit of room. That was the difference.
Well, I think you're just devaluing a little bit the form that you showed, Ken, because I know you were superb yesterday, and I know daughter Debbie's here and enjoying everything. Well, where's son Paul?
Oh, he's in Italy, and with a bit of luck, you could be watching this.
We're all watching this. Back to David Bobin.
Thanks very much indeed. Well, John Bancroft, a former champion here at the Waterloo, is watching that match with me. We suspected possibly that there was a way that Mr. Duncan could be beaten, and Ken found it.
Yeah, it was a flawless performance, actually, from Ken. That's as good a performance that I've seen on the Waterloo for quite some time, really. He played those 35-yard marks across the crown, which are difficult marks to put balls near, and he led every time a ball somewhere near the jack, a foot, 18 inches, or inside that sometimes. Always under pressure, Brian.
Hugh Johns made the point during that match that this possibly could be Ken's year. I mean, as you said earlier, he played in one of the greatest televised matches ever. Do you think maybe 1995 will be his year?
Well, he'd be a popular winner. As I say, he has gone down in history as one of the unluckiest men never to win the Waterloo, with the final with the great Dennis Mercer in '82. Only time will tell, really. He's got a tough match now with Bob Crawshaw in the next semi-final.
But certainly with Duncan out, everything is wide open.
Well, all the people who back Duncan now will be faffing about now down there at the bookmakers, seeing who else they can go and back now. I mean, there'll be panic stations now. All the bookmakers will be all going out getting drunk at dinner time. They'll all be absolutely delighted, the bookmakers.
John, thank you for that. Let's move on now to our next quarter-final. It's Jeff Telford against David Thornley. Let's look first of all at Jeff Telford's record. And there it is. He plays for the Sale Excelsior Club. His best ever performance was making it to the last 64. Just 20 county appearances, so obviously you'd expect, I guess, on that record, John, that Jeff is the underdog in this particular one.
Well, it's a pretty close one to call, actually. The 2 up-and-coming young players. David is a little bit younger than Jeff, but Jeff is just starting to make his way on the handicap circuit, really. He was unlucky last week in a tournament in the Isle of Man, lost in the quarter-final, and probably, in his own mind, feels he probably should have won it. He's a bit of a stylish Jeff. He's got a lovely action. He's a nice lad, and he possibly does suffer from a little bit of nerves. He's a little bit laid back in some respects. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes on.
Right, let's take a check on David Thornley and his record and the statistics. As John was saying, not a lot really to choose between these 2 up-and-coming players. He's 22, David Thornley. He plays for Nimble Look. His best here at the Waterloo in the last 32 4 years ago, just the 11 appearances for his county. And the bookies' odd would suggest that, 10-1 against both these players. They couldn't really make their minds up, John.
No, it was pretty nip and tuck down with the bookmakers. I've picked David as my fancy for the bottom half, solely because he's been playing the green very well. I know he likes the green. He's playing with a lot of form and confidence at the moment. And he doesn't seem to get upset with anything. Nothing seems to bother him. He's very composed on the green.
Excellent. Well, the crowd here are waiting for the players to make their appearance. Let's not delay that any longer. It's Jeff Telford against David Thornley.
Ladies and gentlemen, the third of the quarterfinals, playing in the red shirt, Jeff Telford. And playing in the blue shirt, David Thornley. Over to referee John Gertry to start the game.
John Gertry turns the coin over, and it's Jeff Telford who has won the toss. The game of crown bowls always starts from the entrance, which is halfway down one side of the green. Here it's in the area of the north stand, but once the first mark has been set, then the bowlers go walkabout and can put the block anywhere they like. Telford, 29 years old, and his opponent, David Thornley, 22. The both of them starting their bowling life very young. And Jeff Telford, decorator by profession. What was it, 3 years ago, or 1982, 13 years ago, won the Cheshire Junior Merit. His twin brother Chris won it the following year. Thornley on the road, all about weight. Now it's wait and see. Looks like a blue ball counting.
One.
David Thornley on the board. (6-5). Just a small reminder, if you weren't with us earlier, that this being a handicap, bowlers start with 5 chalks on the board and go up as far as 21 to win it. Telford, a Greater Manchester County player, as indeed is David Thornley. Thornley from Chatterton, near Oldham. Jeff Telford from Sale. Chatterton, Oldham, the area that Ken Strutt is known very well in. Brian, he certainly looked pretty happy down there for a change. He nearly smiled, didn't he, Ken Strutt?
There was a hint, wasn't there? I think he was looking at the bookies here and thinking, hey, I'll just save them a packet. But these two lads, you know, are in the same sort of young bracket of bowls, north and south of the city of Manchester. Thornley, a very fit lad. He's the one who whizzes round on a mountain bike, although he's not going to need that today.
Yes, they've something, I suppose, in common with Jeff Telford, a decorator, and David Thornley, a graphic designer, or at least a student studying graphic design. So let's see if they can paint some pictures for us here.
Run away.
Thumb peg. Thumb peg, which is the backhand approach to the jack, or the block. Get past, no, he hit. It's a big lad, this Jeff Telford. Must be, what, 6?
Yes.
6'1", 6'2"?
His brother's same, of course, a twin. And there's a
They
third
often
brother.
are, Brian.
Yeah,
they
they
often
are. Twins are often. They are. I can't tell them apart, I tell you. I suppose we've got the right one.
Oh! Hey, is that block going to stay on? Yes. Tell you what, that is a winning bowl, because if you get past it, I suspect you'll go straight into the ditch. That's gone. Yeah, the weight
Telford,
to reach the block
one.
had to be a ditch-bound bowl.
Comes from a hard school, doesn't he? Mr. Telford.
Yes.
Sale Excelsior Club, Roy Armstrong, a member there, of course. They've got some outstanding players, and they've just had a tremendous season. I think 3 top team events, 7 trophies they won over there, Hugh, as a team.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's hard getting into the team.
They are certainly one of the outstanding teams.
Team of the year, I would say,
Crown
in
Bowl.
Crown Green, yeah.
Yes.
Now, Nimble Nook, where David Thornley plays.
It's a marvellous name, isn't it?
Nimble Nook. Not a lot nimble about these lads.
Hey, the road is good. The road is good. And the weight is nearly perfect. What's that, 8 inches, 9 inches past the block? That is a bowl to beat. Let's see what Jeff is doing. His road is very good again. Touch it? No. Thornley holding 1, and plenty of room to draw in for 2. Ooh, ooh. No, he only cancelled the 1.
Thornley, 1.
So, level. 7 each apiece, and for £1.50. The cue is there. The cue is there. Feed the inner man or the inner woman, potter back and see some top-class bowls.
Not me.
Oh, well.
Beer and bowls and betting.
Beer, bowls and betting.
You could easily get led astray in this game. It's thirsty work. You know, in the war they applied for a license here to sell beer when it was restricted, and the magistrate refused. He said, I can hardly see selling beer to Crown Green bowlers as helping the war effort. Anything goes.
Well bowled, Jeff Telford. David Thornley needs to hit. No. The weight was so heavy that if he knew he would go past if he didn't make contact with the block. Don't think that's going to arrive.
Telford, 1.
His first one was good enough. (8-7). Jeff Telford leading. Some of this audience has gone off to have their lunch in preparation for the afternoon sessions, but many of them are lunching here at the greenside. Sunny Blackpool. What, about 7 or 8 minutes to 12 on a lovely Thursday morning. And, always something for them to talk about, whether they're criticizing bad bowls or enjoying good bowls. And the crowd down there already saying yes, yes, yes. They read the game well down there.
They tip them early, Hugh, don't they?
Yes.
Right off the crown, they start shouting. Mind you, they need to be happy, those bookmakers down there, because they've saved that much money this week. Mr. Duncan departing.
I think that's the winner coming in. It is.
Thornley, 1.
Well, one more each, they'll be level. 8 each piece all round. And this is interesting. David Thornley trying a block which will have the bowl travelling parallel with the ditch. And here it's a curly mark, thumb peg, and the slope and bias work together at the back end of the travel. That is, the bias is towards the ditch, and the slope helps that bias then bring the bowl down. But neither of them found the right road for their first deliveries. That still looks a little bit narrow, David Thornley. Close enough to be counting at the moment, but I would have a small bet that Telford will be closer.
I'll take that bet.
I'm a loser.
Thornley, 1.
Well, he's a bit fortunate there, I think, David Thornley. He set a block and didn't really put it all together then.
I thought he might have just looked to the corner, but not for long here. He's just shortening the game.
Yes, what's this, about 25?
Yes. It's a funny mark, this one. They don't often play this one.
It's neither one thing nor t'other, is it?
Might catch him.
Come on,
Pace will catch him.
Ben now. Through by about 6 or 8 inches on a length, but the closest of the two on the green. This looks better. Come on, run a bit more. Just about won it, I would think. No. David Thornley had a look and said that the red bowl is on.
Turned over.
Turned his bowl over and doesn't want to. Oh, a little bit of damage, I think.
Yes.
Yes, he's knocked the blue bowl
Telford,
in.
1.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Well, the body language
odd.
said that
Yeah. I
that
thought
he
so.
knocked the bowl in.
I thought so.
But no, Telford scored. So once again, 9-9 the score. And there's very little to choose between these two young bowlers. Telford's certainly gone on a long walk to see the final of that bowl. Needs to bend now and keep running. No, pulled up short. Well, that's a much tighter line. Can it hold that line? Oh, weight-wise, he was all right, but now Thornley. Is he counting? Is he counting? Is he counting? Well, who's got it? Two bowlers have to decide, deliberate on it.
Telford, 1.
Telford gets one, and he goes in front. 10-9.
Well, sadly, that's where we have to leave the action from Blackpool here at the Waterloo, but don't...
Telford.
Red disc.
Telford 16, Thornley 12. Jeff Telford still grinding it out. Jeff Telford still grinding it out. That's another double. Doubles back to back now, makes 18-12 in the big lad's favour. Finger peg, forehand bowl, underneath by quite some distance. And Dave Thornley needs to get that block back in his possession. Road looks good. Perhaps not quite enough, but counting at the moment. Telford running past his bowl to get there and see it arrive, and will be disappointed, I wonder. Doesn't look to have counted. Thornley turning his bowl over, holding thumb peg now, backhanded. And it stayed out. Must be a little ridge there which prevents the bowl
Only one.
utilising its bias. But the important thing is that Thornley has the block back in his fingers. It's 5 down. 13-18 off the mat. This little curly mark just up over the crown and down the other side. Thumb peg. Just about on a length, or maybe through a length by about 8 or 10 inches. Tighter line by Telford, much too tight. David Thornley has got some battling to do. Wow. They're a bit spread out. It's there for the winning. The crowd like that one. And they're right.
Telford won.
Well, Thornley, I think, has missed the boat. 19-13, Jeff Telford leads. Again, the thumb peg mark. Needed to take a little bit more land, a wider road, but it's close enough to be in the eye line of David Thornley. Underneath. Hey, what a ball. Just by a whisker got past the red ball. I doubt whether you could have got a Rizzler cigarette paper between those two then. Steady, 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 steady. Got it. Now, of course, that changes the situation as far as Thornley's concerned, because making this contact has shifted the block to a different part of the green. And Thornley has to get in there now. No. Gone way out. Well, 20-13, Jeff Telford off the mat. That last one was all about changing the land altogether, wasn't it, when the block moved that distance?
It was a fortunate sort of shunt, wasn't it, to take it that sort of distance, but it's worked doubly for Telford in that he can now go far corner as far as we've been in this game. Difficult mark there, Hugh, isn't it?
It is indeed. This is what, 60, around about 60 yards, I suppose.
Brilliant bowl.
What a storming lead. When you only need one for the place in the semi-final, That's not a bad way to start off, is it?
This has got a good road. It's about...
It's too heavy.
And weight, yes. That's the danger.
That's the ditch. That's where it wound up. Right under the nose of our cameraman. But Jeff is not going to make that mistake. Well bowled. Counting two, obviously, because he's only got the balls on the green. Only needs one, and this is either stay alive or shake the hand. Hey, it's looking good, isn't it? It's looking good. It's one in. Whoa, under pressure. And they love that, don't they? Oh. What about that, Brian?
What a brilliant bowl, line length, absolutely all right. But it's a pressure bowl, wasn't it? When you think that everything was stacked against him, this to stay alive.
Oh, really magnificent. He held his nerve and he did the business. But now he's got the score. He's got the score 7 chalks, 7 points in a row. He's 14-20 down. And he hasn't led well. He's put no pressure on Telford. See that ball climbing up over the crown, and it comes down the other side. It's only about 11 to 12 inches, the crown here at the Waterloo, but that gives you the impression and shows you that it is not a flat surface out there. Oh, well, Telford doesn't need to bowl his last one because David Thornley has squandered his 2 bowls. One red one was all that it was needed. Telford carries his last one up and he goes through into the semi-final on a 21-14 scoreline.
(6-5), Joe Bradbury. Left-hander, nice stylish. Strokes the jack out, strokes the bowls out. Against Alan Thompson. Vastly experienced Yorkshireman in blue, just about a mark. Desperately close to the edge of the jack. Now work against Joe. This. It's just stayed on. Can't believe he wanted it so close to the edge. Now then, Thompson. Oh, likes that. Don't move it too much. Good ball. It wouldn't take much to remove ball and jack, and Joe is going to run at it with some weight. A little bit of weight. Controlled, striking shot to hit. Oh, well, he stays on. He's removed the glue disc bowl. One of his own, the striking bowl, has gone off. Leaves himself on with Thompson to play this, the final bowl of the second end. Misses. Can he get the bowl? Can he move the ball? Sideways. Up.
Off to Thompson.
Oh, dear me. A sideways roll. Well, I've heard of a hand roll. But he's left himself with that bowl. I mean, look at this. This is agony. This limps across. Shunt. Roy, look at that. Sideways.
Yes. I'm watching the first 2 ends of this game. There's no doubt in my mind this green has speeded up enormously, That particular mark was one of the faster parts of the green, but I think it's about 2 yards faster than it was first thing this morning. And here's Alan Thompson now playing thump egg just underneath the crown of the green. This is a typical Alan Thompson mark, around about 40 yards. It's all uphill to this position, just riding the ridge and coming off down it. Going to be about a yard short.
It is indeed, Roy. A yard short and in the approach. And then Joe Bradbury took the first end, then conceded a double on that very strange second end. The jack and bowl so close to the ditch, inviting some sort of trouble in getting it. So Joe Bradbury waves the bowl angrily on, not happy with it, watches anxiously in the background there as the bowl didn't quite perform as he wished. So 7-6 before this bowl arrives. There's another bowl yet from Bradbury. Thompson then pushing up. Funny that, Roy, isn't it? Just talking about the green quickening, but there's still one or two where it's obviously where it requires a little bit of effort.
Yeah, it's notorious coming up from that central drive corner. It is all uphill to this position. You've really got to push them up. And Joe looks as though he's given this a fair push.
Looks as though he's giving it more of a push if he can find a way through.
Just gets by.
Just limp through. Limp on. Good.
One to Bradbury.
The bowl was listening. A single to the red of Joe Bradbury. 7 across. Good bowl. That just about made it. That was an extra breakfast one, wasn't it?
And that's all it had to do, yeah.
So Joe Bradbury away into the corners. We saw him bowl very well in his last 16 game, Roy, where he was particularly strong in the corners.
Yes, Joe's a very unusual player. He's a very keen tactical player, uses his hand, uses his left-hand delivery an awful lot. He's a very, very tenacious player. One that I admire because he's 64, but I always think he's a very, very fit man. You look at the front of him and he's a very flat front, done all kinds of sports in his lifetime, been a trials motorbike rider, been an expert shot, performed at Bisley. Very, very good sportsman and a very, very good competitor.
And clearly got a good eye if he shot at Bisley, Roy. And watching it all and thinking back, Brian Duncan, the hot favourite, who bit the dust today to delight the bookmakers, but very few others. Now then, Joe Bradbury, this has got to swing away. He's expecting a lot from the ball and won't get it. Alan Thompson.
Yes, Alan's gone the other way in. Alan's gone finger peg here.
Does it work a little bit?
Yeah,
Straightens.
Should just come inside at the finish.
Is it listening, Roy? It wasn't listening, you know. Hey, it should have done, shouldn't it? It should have worked with the bat.
Yeah.
One to Thompson.
Another single. If you want an overhead shot, there's one of the helicopter flights that you can book and have a look at the tower and have a wander around the Golden Mile. Out on the green, 8-7 is the lead of Alan Thompson. I wonder how this game is going to shape up, Roy, because Thompson's a good corner bowler, Joe's a good corner bowler, they're both fairly strong on three-quarter lengths.
Yes, Joe's got an unusual tactic. He often plays two ends in the corners and then he'll suddenly switch the jack to the middle of the green. But he hasn't had a chance to do it yet in this game. I think Alan will stick to this sort of length. This is the length that he likes, around about 40 yards, and that's a perfect length ball. Again, all uphill to this position.
Good chance here for Bradbury to get back in at 8-7 down and the lead a little astray. There's Joe there. Waving it on again. He always waves the bowls on, Joe. Just about won it. Joe Bradbury, a retired engineer, and Thompson, company director. Run away, they shout, and that's why. Struggling. So Bradbury holding one, which would level him. And another one right now. We'll just see him edge in front. Nice style. Grabs the footer. Jogs after it at 64. Still keen, still enthusiastic. Look at this for two.
Two
Yes.
to Bradbury.
That's the view from the terrace across to the stands. Three sides with seated areas and still a bank of terracing fronted by the gentlemen that shout the odds, the bookmakers. And this will be wide open now, won't it, Roy, at this stage, the sweep?
Oh yes, indeed. Yes, the betting will have stabilised now. Obviously, Robert Crawshaw and Ken Struck will be the joint favourites in this particular match. Before the event, you could have had 14-1 Joe Bradbury, whereas Alan Thompson was 3-1.
See, really. Yes, there's quite a Yorkshire contingent here, of course. From our commentary position, we can hear them well enough. Hope you can. The Yorkshire have got a pretty horrible record in the Waterloo over the years. Last winner was Roy Nicholson, and before that, 1948, Albert Ringrose, going way back. Joe Bradbury, himself a former winner of the tournament. Who knows this green? He won it in 1971 at his second attempt. Don't know why, Roy, but very few left-handers have won the Waterloo. Illingworth, of course, was the last. Keith Illingworth.
The red one.
Yes, there's no reason. You're quite right. I know the bookmakers feel that way. They always field against players, top-class players like Robert Hitchin from Yorkshire. It's a peculiar thing. They just haven't had any success. There are marks on the green that suit left-handers, but it's a strange situation, isn't it?
Yes, there are, of course, more right-handed top bowlers than left-handed, but it's strange. Look at this, trying hard. Got the gap?
One peg's on, I think, Joe.
Might be a measure. Joe's had a good look at that. He can't sort it out. Even an expert shot, yes, he can. He's taken one. Are we going to call for a measure? Just wait for Alan
I think
Thompson.
you'll be wanting a measure, Alan.
Referee wants a measure. Unless Thompson concedes, which is unlikely to.
Pegs, please.
Measure. Well, it's 9-8 to Bradbury. And we're going to try and have a nice close look at this measure. Here we are. We're right in on the action here. Right, now we're just finger there just to make sure it's tight. Let's do it again. The finger there will tight as you can on that. Now, right, we'll accept that. And then to the blue disc bowl, not touch anything, whatever you do. Slap, it's slap. Yeah, blue ball. Good measure, Roland Thompson. 9 across. 9 across the score as Thompson sets the mark at the 7th end. Just wait for the crowd to settle down. Well experienced, they won't be rushed. Thompson is now just exploring the possibilities along an edge. Maybe he's going to try the other diagonal, Roy, if he wins this end.
I'm sure that's what he's trying to do. Otherwise, it's a very strange tactic, because he will know that Joe Bradbury is an expert at green edge play. He's very, very good at using his hand in those situations. So I'm sure that that's what Alan's going to do. If he gets in here, he'll go across to the diagonal towards the pub. Straight peg, finger peg, bias towards the crown. Ran about 30 yards. Lead bowl's about 2'6" off.
Joe looks to have taken a very tight line in. Again, waves the ball on as ever, and that's why. Pity. Thompson got away with it a little bit. Now must turn the screw. Needs to be right on the jack. Not bad. Still room. Joe mustn't be short. Looks to put a bit of running in the bowl. Bit of running in himself. Approaches, needs a hit. Can he promote his own enough? Needs another roll, I think. Has he done it? He thinks so.
1 to Bradbury.
Yes. That's one way of getting them. I think it was quite designed to finish that way, but it was a nice connection here, Roy, wasn't it?
Yes, well, he had 2 chances. If he missed the ball, he would have played up to the jack, so there was a chance of getting 1, possibly 2.
Fair enough.
Just a little difference in the bowls, Brian.
Yep.
Alan Thompson playing with his favourite 2-pound 13-ounce composition bowls, whereas Joe Bradbury favours the old-fashioned Lignum Vita bowls. His bowls are about 2 pounds 11 ounces, so little difference in the running.
Now he's tried this little trick he pulls now and again, which is to bowl to the centre of the green, right up to the middle of the crown. I saw him try it in his last 16 game yesterday, and it didn't work. And it's not working so far because Thompson has responded excellently.
Yes, he's such a seasoned campaigner, Alan Thompson. You know, 102 county caps. He knows that from a corner to the middle, it's all uphill. And he wasn't caught.
And it stopped nicely for him too, didn't it? It stopped dead virtually. Now then, Joe, are you on the roll? Can you pick the jack up? No. It's the tactic that's worked against him. If Thompson can put another one in now, he certainly pushed that one out. And it's just approaching now. Beats one and settles close to his other for 2, which must go down as an error by Joe because he didn't lead well. .11-10, Alan Thompson. But it means, Roy, he can't go very far, can he, from the middle of the green?
Well,
they used to start in the middle of the green, didn't they? You remember that?
That's in the old professional days, yes. They used to start in the centre of the green because they figured then that neither player had an advantage.
Yes.
But the thing about playing from the centre of the green is no matter where you go, it's all downhill.
Yes.
And I think Alan will be aware of that, but you see, he's never really held the jack. He's to win this game, he's got to be able to hold the jack for a few ends. He's overplayed here.
Well,
Not so bad.
Yeah, it pulled up. It looked, as it ran down there, as though it had a fair bit of running left. Joe put that down very carefully. Now it's running down towards the jack. Has it got enough running? Has it got enough running? No. How strange.
I think it's just given up.
Yes, I think so, Rob.
Gone the other way, Alan Thompson.
Yeah.
Gone thumb peg now. Trying to just miss that ball on the bottom side, but I don't think he'll reach.
I think he's undercooked it again, yeah. Strange when they're playing a mark of, what, 28 yards. Catches them out. Joe Bradbury, really, it looks as though he's put a little bit in. Has he put enough in? Yeah.
Joe's followed him,
Gone the
same way.
Yes. Yes. Could. Just about do it. Yep.
1 to Bradbury.
They're loving it. It's a clever game.
Yes, I always feel that Joe is a very tenacious player. I know that when I've played him over the years, at the end of the game, whether you've won or lost, you really feel you've been in a match. He puts you through the mill.
It grills you a bit, does it? Yeah. I think he's always a difficult player to face when he has a run with the block. Obviously, he's going to be in good nick if he does, but he always seems to be a better player in front.
Yes, and the strange thing now is, of course, he's gone exactly where Alan Thompson would have gone.
Yeah, same hand, presumably.
Yes, Joe, this is Joe's finger peg, coming down to the heavy part of the green. He's probably just a little bit on the bottom side of the jack, but a good length.
Well, they both know this land. Alan has been through to the final stages before. Quarter-finals. He was a beaten finalist in 1985. So they both know the green quite well. Right, now then, still got some travelling to do. The crown now, and then we'll start dropping. Joe's after it. Joe's almost ahead of it. Joe's kicking it because he didn't think it was right. But I'll tell you what, he didn't need a little kick at it. Might just have had a quiet word. I don't know.
That's a good ball.
Yeah, isn't it? Well, no, he aimed a kick at him, but the referee had a little word not to get within a metre of a running ball. Trying for it. Just maybe gone out. they will wait until Alan Thompson arrives, but I'm feeling Joe fancies one and maybe two. He may fancy two. Let's have a look, see what Alan's going to concede here. May peg him.
Pegs, please.
Peg him. Be a good measure, because it could well be Joe's on for two.
Yes, he's one certain. They're just measuring for second.
Yes. All officials from the North Lancashire and Fylde Association. Fleetwood branch. No. Just tighten up on that bow. Referee watching everything.
Try that.
It's a ceremony. That's all right, lads.
Red
Get
ball.
there. Red ball. Are we doing another one as well? Is that it? No.
Two
We
to
agree on
Bradbury.
two. Two to red.
How do you feel, Roy?
13-11. Joe Bradbury. Compelling stuff. Riveting. Bradbury not fully into the corner. Not bad there, Roy, though, is it? It's a bit safer, I think, is it there?
Yes, this is a mark that Joe likes. This is Joe's finger peg, which suits the left-hander, because the left-hander's bringing the ball in towards the crown with the bias, just underneath the crown. Joe's got a good lead here. It's only just a little yard past.
Joe had a nice run in his last round, beating Andrew Hush from Stoke. 21-10, always in control. This one looks somewhat more difficult, although Thompson, neither are leading particularly well, Roy, are they?
No, I think during the course of this week, that corner between the north stand and the west stand has actually been holding water. It's been, on Monday it was certainly wet through, and it's still a little bit damp. And a lot of the play, it's usually one of the best running parts of the green, but this week, for some reason, it's been holding water. But that one didn't hold water, did it?
Wasn't treading water, that's for sure. Beauty. So he's got to be far enough, really, Thompson. He can't be short. He's had to have some running in the bowl. Go on, run on, Michelle, run on, run on. Oh, what a beautiful delivery.
One to Bradbury.
From nothing. What an excellent bowl. Another one. Joe Bradbury. Little run now, break of 4. From 11-10 down to 14-11 ahead.
Yes, that was a super ball of Alan Thompson's. He didn't want to leave two, so he couldn't be too far through, couldn't be too ambitious, so he played a saving ball and almost got first.
Yes. In his last round, Alan Thompson was level with Ian Rigby at 11 across, and he possibly might have fancied Rigby being from the Tarleton area, which is not far away. But he broke away to win 21-17, Alan Thompson, finishing very strongly. And he finished with 2 killer doubles, didn't he, Roy? Do you remember those?
That's right, I do, yes.
He's needing now to lift his game, because this is one of the big ends in the game. 14-11.
Joe's got this jack in a very good place for him. It's just round the corner, as we say. It's not quite in the channel. It's just round the corner. Very difficult to get on the line here. That's a good ball. It's only about 18 inches off.
And the right-hander, of course, playing a left-hander, Roy, is bound to have a different approach off the footer.
Yes, coming in this direction, the tendency for the right-hander is to play below the jack line and just fall away. This is exactly what Alan Thompson's done.
Is it going to peg for him? It won't do it, though.
No, it'll stay below.
Kick away, yeah. Good move from Joe. 14-11 and holding 1. Put the jack absolutely where he wants it. Look at him go. He thinks 2. Very early on. Did you see that the hands go in the air? He reckons he's got 2. That was after about 10 yards. Oh, they like that. Run away, they shout. He's got it right, though. He's got it right. 2. At the moment. Before Alan Thompson. He's in fine fettle, is Joe, is it, today? He's been there before. Alan Thompson. Down 14-11. And maybe even more, unless. Well. He might just have saved.
One
Saved.
to Bradbury.
Yeah, good ball again. He cuts the count to 1, but Joe Bradbury on a roll. 4 successive winning ends. To go 15-11.
Yes, that's 2 ends together that Alan Thompson's had to play 2 very good saving bowls. And they always say, of course, if you keep saving one, you'll eventually lose the game. But that's all he can do at this stage. Joe's playing so well on this mark, and he'll go back again. His finger peg, just underneath the crown. Feels sure it'll go about 50 yards again.
Yes, surely he's not going to drop it short because it's never worked for him. But the green is running beautifully and it's very smooth. Ken Strutt said he was happy on it, Roy. He felt comfortable.
Yes, I think all the players have been comfortable. It's such a beautiful day. They're absolutely perfect conditions for bowling. He's there again, you know.
He's not far off, is he? He's going to just run down there and peg. It's probably just a couple of feet, is it?
That's a yard, yes.
Yeah. It would have been perfect delivery, wouldn't it? Just that little bit more. Well, they're condemning that. I think Tomo's wobbling a bit here. That's nowhere. Have it back. Right. Joe Bradbury then. Looking good. Leading 15-11. Holding 1. Up and over the crown and down. It's got some running in it, this ball. Just beat your own and stop. You've got to stop sometime. Come on. Well, it's still 2, but it's an indifferent 2 now. It's more 1.5, I think. Oh, he's still smiling. You can afford to smile. Thompson, are you there? Are you far enough? Have you corrected? Have you? He has, you know. He has. What a good ball.
1 to Thompson.
Well, he certainly needed it, Roy. Lovely ball.
Yes, he did. There was plenty of room, but it's all right saying that. You've got to do it. You know, he had to beat a ball of just a yard off, and he's done that. And he'll be gathering his thoughts together now, thinking where he can play. Because, as I said earlier, he's never kept the jack. You need to keep the jack for 2 or 3 ends to get your length, to get your rhythm, and that's something he hasn't done. Carefully weighing it up now.
Seems tempted to go back to the across the diagonal to the corner, but not quite the same position for the jack, and maybe change the hand.
I think he will, Brian. Yes, I think he'll go finger peg wherever he goes. Probably go finger peg down to the east stand.
Yeah, on the way. We are into the 14th end. The lead 15-12 for Joe Bradbury. Former winner of the tournament. He didn't go all the way, Roy, did he? But as you suggested, he certainly went that hand.
This is a good tactic. This is about 40 yards. Finger peg, playing against the hand of the left-hander. Gone somewhere where he can get a good lead. He's got a good lead.
He's played half a game, hasn't he? His second bowl has often been quite acceptable, but the first has been all over the place. But that is a good lead. So Joe stick to the hand?
I think he will, yes. I think he will.
Joe watches it quite anxiously there as he waves it.
He's actually gone the other way, Brian. You're quite right.
I wondered whether the approach might be a bit masked there. Right.
He's gone his finger peg.
Yeah.
But Alan will play the same again.
They put another one in now, won't it?
Just got to run a bit, this.
I think Joe's land was right. It was just his length that let him down. Just 2. Only just. But that's upset that hand as well. Oh, Joe. Stick to the same hand, sure.
Yes, Joe will just have to play
yard ball.
What Alan Thompson's been playing, a saving bowl.
Yes, the pendulum swings just against him at this end, unless. But he saves.
1 to Thompson.
Yes, the blue counts. Unlucky, Roy.
Yes, he had a chance of winning, didn't he? It was just the wrong side. Been on the other side of the ball, he'd have counted the end.
13-15. Can Thompson now just pick his game up? Just start delivering 2 decent balls. All about the placing of the jack, and you don't want to show all that much respect to your opponent, but bearing in mind where he's not been counting, he's going to find somewhere different.
Yes, he's playing finger peg again. against the left-hander, right through the centre of the green, down to the west stand. This part of the green is quite good finishing once you get near the edge. That's a good lead again.
Yeah. So 2 yards from the approach, there's a nice little drop if you can get it right. That is a good ball. Now then, Joe. Trying down, just round the back. Good ball. Now then, Thompson. Where's the ball? There it is. Any moment now, folks. It's there. Now, where does it finish? What's the challenge they face? Up and over, then it does run down, and the bias just pulls it away.
It's only one, and Joe looking now. He's looking at the possibility of coming the other peg and,
yes,
and playing about a yard over, trying to bring that jack through and counting 2.
Yes, his is the back bowl, isn't the red disc is the back bowl, so that if he were to get a nice connection on the jack, it'd be a heck of a time for 2.
That's what he's done. He's come his
Just
finger
got some
peg.
running, and down now. They wait anxiously. He turns away actually because he's taken. Yeah, it was out anyway. It's just the one. Just the one.
1 to Thompson.
So that will give renewed hope to Alan Thompson after his 3rd successive single, because he is now within a point of Joe Bradbury, and the game did look at 15-11 to be slipping away from him, Roy.
He's just suddenly started leading, hasn't he? You know, this is the Alan Thompson playing finger peg. This is how he plays, and one of the features of his game is he's an excellent leader. Finger peg just underneath the crown, playing about 35 yards, going down to the east stand.
It's a nice head-on shot of Alan Thompson, the concentration. He usually does a little shake of the hand afterwards. I didn't detect it then. Go on, run on, they say, run on. That's a good ball. He is leading well. Now then, can Joe hold his nerve? Because now he looks serious. The smile has gone momentarily. Anxious, look at it. No smile, tense, anxious.
That's won it.
Just won it. Me? Yes, thank you. He's on.
Now that is difficult for Alan Thompson now, because that ball is right in the way.
Yes, he decides to try it again. If he's far enough, he could get a connection. Take the jack, shift the ball, neither. Good chance for Joe.
The Bradbury backers urging Joe to go for 2, because they've all taken the 7-4 that was on offer for this particular game. Alan Thompson was actually 5-2 on.
I'd have thought it was more of an even money shot, but there you go. Go on, run on for 2, run on for 2. I don't think so. He might have dropped short. That's the one. They'll take that out, concede it as 1, maybe just 1. Yes.
1 to Bradbury.
1. 16-14. I suppose it's all about weight of money, Roy, but sometimes there is that element of judgment that comes into a bookmaker's thinking. I just thought in terms more even money. I don't know.
Well, it's just that they feel that Joe is in the autumn of his career. Although having said that, of course, it's only 16 up, and he'll only be required to play 3 games today to win it. So that's no problem to Joe.
Maybe it was weight of money from Yorkshire on Alan Thompson, but that was a good price for Joe. There's a fair lead in that it's in the way. It's a couple of feet, well, 1.5 foot short. And Thompson is far enough. Drop now. Misses the bowl, stops, but just gone out. So there you are, Joe. You've certainly got 1.
He's taking great care here. He wants to get another
Oh,
bowl, but he doesn't want to move that jack.
What does that mean, Roy, when he clapped his hands?
He thinks it's too far.
It?
Missed that jack.
He wasn't that much too far, but he was too far. He didn't clap his hands.
He knew as soon as he
often
sent
enough.
it.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He condemned it. That's a little shake of the hand from Thompson after delivering the ball. Wants to play that one out, but he's not done it far. Oh, has he? This is just toppled. He might have this now. Oh, Thompson ball seemed to have settled. and then just fell forward. Has it fallen in? Has it fallen in?
Yeah.
Yes, he connected with Joe's bowl, toppled it over. Didn't look like he was going to push it out, but it just had another turn and propped over. They're going to measure these now.
Yes, I think so. Do you have a fancy?
Not sure, Brian. No, I think they're almost equidistant, those.
Yes, difficult one, because the angles are not easy. I just had a feeling that the blue ball might have fallen in. Take your pick, he says. Normally they will say, well, let's measure this one because we think it could be in. In fact, this time he said, take your pick. I don't know. That is on the blue ball and is tightened. We now look for slackness or space. Slackness, slackness, slackness. Red. Joe Bradbury on a measure. Well, that's got them all buzzing. My goodness. 17-14. Joe Bradbury. Well, now it's got to be different land, Roy, hasn't it? Are we going full corners? No, Joe's not sure, is he?
He's not sure, no. He's looking in the corner, and they looked across to the north stand. But no, he's
not going full, what?
Yes, he's going his thumb peg, Alan Thompson's finger peg, just underneath the crown. This, of course, is where our old friend Brian Duncan would like to play. This again is about 55 yards down here, quite close to the edge, only about 4.5 feet off.
It is indeed, isn't it? And he's waving. I just wonder if he's happy with the jack there. I don't know whether it actually went where he wanted to put it. It's not an easy mark.
But it's a long way down there. They have to get over the crown and down, and this is shorter still.
It might be an optical illusion, but it looks as though there is a rise as well. Once you come off the crown, it does look as though there's a bit of a rise before you drop towards the jack. Or whether it's a heavy area.
Well, you've got to go up over the crown. The downhill part is only the last 8 yards towards the green all sign.
Get him off the green.
Right, nice style, Joe Bradbury. Long step forward. And a nice stylus, and he's off after it. I hope he's got it right because he's put some effort into the running. He's talking to it, waving at it, kicking it. He's done a lot. It was a good bowl. It was a good bowl. Now then, Thompson knows he's got to be further. Further than the 2 short bowls he is now about to pass. Can he run far enough? I think not. I think not.
Bradbury.
Joe Bradbury, another single. Getting closer and closer to the semi-final. 18-14. They're loving it. The money's on, lads. That's the terracing. That's where the noise comes from. You'd think they're on a day out here. They all come on the bus. 18-14. Joe Bradbury. 1971 winner of the Waterloo. Against Alan Thompson, runner-up in 1985 and a quarter-finalist in 72, 76, 81. Been very close.
Yes, Joe's playing just underneath the crown here. He's playing his thumb peg all uphill. This is one of the heaviest parts of the green. It's a long, long way up here. It's about 55 yards. Not an easy mark. He's just got on the narrow side of the jack.
Yeah, his length was excellent. So it needs an adjustment.
And Alan's come the other way.
Yes.
He's turned his ball over. He's come his thumb peg. Again, it's got to run.
But that is green knowledge, isn't it, Roy?
Yes, he learned off Joe's ball, didn't he? He didn't think that was the right thing to do, but Joe's gone the same way again.
Well, he stuck to his guns, mind. He was a shot at Bisley, so... Has he got it right? Has he got it right? Is this the bullet? No. Oh, dear. Now then, Thompson. Same bowl as his first. What a chance. Come on, run on the shout. Still got to limp and climb and run and run. Enough, enough. Yes, I think Joe's kicked one in, kicks the second in. Another 2, Alan Thompson. So another 2, that's his third of the game. we now have a different ball game at 16-18 off the mat. Alan Thompson.
Yes, that's given Alan Thompson a lifeline. He was really struggling before that to keep pace with Joe, and I'm sure he'll now resort back to his finger peg marks, his 35, 40-yard finger peg marks. Thinking very carefully about it, but I think that's what he'll do.
Yorkshire influence in the crowd.
No, he's going somewhere very safe. He's going thumb peg. He's going Alan's thumb peg just underneath the crown. Very, very straight here. The aiming point is only about a foot.
With the bias, you just work pretty straight, Roy. It didn't perform until right at the death.
Yes, he was always on the bottom side, but with a length, it'll just hold. Alan looks to be on a better line here. If he's far enough, he's got a good bowl.
Yes. It may not run. It may not run, Roy. Who's on? And for how many? No indication. Presumably the first bowl up by Thompson. Joe looks a tighter line, claps his hands. Does that mean he's angry? Does that mean it's short? Does that mean it's a non-runner? It's short and will peg away. He thinks he might peg inside. Just one to Thompson.
One to Thompson.
Come on, Joe.
He won't let go. 15-11 down. And now at 18-17 to Bradbury. Thompson very much back in this. Oh, that's nice stuff, isn't it? Rooftop view of Blackpool, guest houses, private houses. All watching the bowls. Right then, Thompson leading, you see, Roy. It's not, but it's an iffy lead, isn't it?
Well, it's a good tactic. He's come his finger peg, but as you can see from that bowl, the feature of this mark is not to get below the jack, and that's exactly what Alan's done. Joe will learn from that. If he gets a length, he's okay, but it's all uphill here. This is going to be short.
Yes, it was written off fairly early on, that one. There is some cloud cover. I don't know whether the green has slowed a shade. Now then, what about the road? This is all right. He's bowl one. He's only bowled one here. Joe Bradbury, having been in control up till pretty much the 18th end, has suddenly found it swinging against him. This is a good time to start scoring points.
Certainly.
It's not short, Roy. He might just need a bit of a connection here. Not the gap. Oh, he's done it! Oh.
One to Bradbury.
How many? One. They've gone over two. He'll be happy with one. Oh, because without a hit, that was heading for
This was
South
like
Pier,
about 8 yards past, yes, and they say fortune favours the brave, but I'm sure Alan Thompson thinks it's a cruel game.
An element of the old fluke about that one, but it's worth a single and it's worth the jack, which is more important. And now at 19-17, Joe's a double away from a semi-final place, and he knows he's been in a scrap. I thought he got the jack away pretty quickly there. Is that going to stay on the green? It's not. You know, Roy, I thought he went into that very quickly.
Yes, he was determined to go a long way and try to catch Alan Thompson out, try to catch him being short, and he's paid the penalty. It's what he's got to do now is get that out of his mind and concentrate hard and follow the line of this jack. Watch it very, very carefully like a hawk.
Because Alan Thompson, the opponent, will now set the mark and Joe will lead to it. He's standing anxiously watching the road from behind Thompson. So Joe Bradbury playing to the lead set by Alan Thompson. He stops.
Peg away.
He doesn't move.
Peg away.
He freezes because he thinks he might have got it right. Absolutely right. Oh, what a beautiful ball. Now then, Thompson has seen the road, and he reckons unless he pegs away, he's got a chance. He's going to peg away. He's unlucky there. Only the slightest adjustment called for. Next bowl, Joe must now try and count a second. He needs 2 for game. Holds 1. Has he got it right? Will he run? He's got the same line. He's got the same line. But has he got the legs? No. No, but he's just a little in the way. Alan Thompson just asking how many against him. It is 1. He considers having a go at this because the short bowl might just be in the approach. So a little bit of running in the bowl.
Yes, that was a terrible mistake by Joe. He should have laid game there. He's missed it.
He's going to get away with it, Roy. He's getting away with
On
it.
to Bradbury.
Another single. He could have won the game at that end. He didn't. Thompson lives. Look at this. Just through and away. 2017. Joe Bradbury. A point away from a semi-final place. The 1971 winner of the Waterloo. Oh, he's finding some new land again, Roy.
Yes, very, very clever at tactics, isn't he, Joe? He's coming towards the pub here. He's only playing about 28 yards. It's his finger peg. Good left-hander's peg. It doesn't peg very much here, but most everybody plays short coming up to the pub. It's 2 yards heavier in this direction.
Don't think he's that short, Roy. A little bit. Foot and a half, maybe. Not a bad lead. Thompson quickly after it. Doesn't want to lose the line, the length. Now he's asking the bowl to do a little bit with the bias and just get past that one. Yes! Blue ball is on. Joe Bradbury, 2017. Yes. Is it level? It's level. He knows he can afford to play with a little bit of running to try and play out the Thompson bowl, or run the jack, or promote his own. He's got all the possibilities.
Run away!
Ah, now then. Thompson certainly won. What a good time for 2. I tell you what, 2. He's right back in it.
He's gone the other way.
He has safety, Roy,
to try and get the 2.
Got a chance.
He's got
a chance. He's got a chance. He's got 2.
Brilliant.
Turn to Thompson.
Well, he won his last round with 2 killer doubles.
Straight back, Joe.
Is he about to do the same thing? 19-20 off
back,
the
Joe,
mat.
lad.
The lead to Bradbury for the jack to Thompson. 19-20, Alan Thompson. They only have to get to 21 to win this game. Thompson needing 2. And Bradbury just the 1. And we're just shuffling about on the footer, Alan Thompson. Again, we don't know this land.
So this is thumb peg.
That's a good tactic, isn't it?
It's just about 30 yards. Alan's gone where he thinks he can lead a good bowl.
And he's played inside.
He's inside, isn't he?
He's played inside it, Roy. Is he right?
He's right. He's broken back.
That's funny, isn't it?
Broken back.
He's not followed the jack. Oh, what a pity! He's just run a bit through. But Joe now has to decide whether he's got to follow the jack or the bowl. And he's a left-hander. What's good tactical play? Yeah, he's gone pretty much the line of the bowl, but being a left-hander, he might just have cut it, you know. He's cut it and he's short, and Joe is just wobbling a bit here. Thompson needing 2. Wants to put another one in now. It looks all right, similar to his first delivery. With length, it's a good bowl. With length, it's an excellent bowl, and he's got it. Now he's holding the 2 he needs per game. Joe Bradbury now
He's got to save.
He's got to save. Otherwise, he's out. He's got to cut this count to 1. He's better. He's better. Aye, aye, they say. He needs 1 for game. He needs 1 for game. Is this the one? He don't move. He's thrown to the spot. They think he's got it. He's got it. Has he? Joe thinks he's got it. Alan Thompson's giving no indication. Referee's giving nothing.
Alan Thompson's ready to play the next end.
2019 Bradbury needs 1 for game. Thompson needs 2. This is the bad news for Joe. I think, judging by the body language there.
Thanks, please.
Is this a measure for game? 2019 Bradbury leads, and it's 21 up. Let's get straight in there. Who are they measuring first? They're measuring the Bradbury ball, aren't they?
Yep.
The red. Oh, yeah, sure, there's daylight, isn't there? It's daylight.
It's very close.
Try again.
Try again. Oh, oh dear me. Tighten up on that now.
Go down a bit.
Drop down.
Try to tighten it up.
Tight. Don't.
Try that.
There might now be daylight.
Red eye.
There might be some daylight between.
Red ball.
Yes. Red ball, Joe Bradbury on a measure.
1 to Bradbury.
What a finish. What a stunning finish. Nerve-wracked, tense. A game for the connoisseur. A win and a game. 21-19 that goes to Joe Bradbury. The 1971 winner of the Waterloo is through to the semi-final.
Tight that.
Hey, get me on it tonight, please. Right, thanks.
Come on, Joe, lad.
Yeah.
Of the semi-final.